Good evening and welcome to Inside Outside on Wellness Wednesday. I'm Coach Mitchell.
And I'm Coach Darren.
And tonight we're going to be talking to you all about herbs. Yes, not that kind, but herbs that you can grow right at home that will be prolific throughout the season, throughout the growing season, and that you can use in all of your recipes. And Coach Darren is going to talk to you about some of the healthy benefits of just growing herbs.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. This is also built on the last video that Coach Mitchell that you did the other day, where you shared some of the things that we had harvested in our garden. So everything that we're going to share with you tonight are things that we actually grew. And we just want to encourage you to also start growing, your own herbs as well as anything else. And, we've offered to assist people, so we're here for you. But again, tonight we're going to talk about just herbs because there's herbs, we know our fruits, we got vegetables, and sometimes the herbs get overlooked and only thought of as just seasonings, but they're more than that.
Absolutely. And so just to segue, thank you, into what I did yesterday. I dehydrated. We had harvested some holy basil, which is a really good medicinal herb that Coach Darren will talk about. We had also harvested some oregano and some apple mint from our Mint to Be garden. And here is the finished product of the holy basil. I dehydrated that in the air fryer and just jarred it. And now I have something that will have a shelf life of about 12 months. And the same thing with the oregano. I dehydrated that in the air fryer, which has a dehydration setting, and jarred that. And here we have now herbs that we grew that will serve us for a year. Well, these won't last us a year because we do a lot of home cooking, but you get the point. You can grow it, you can preserve it, and use it for a long period of time. So, sure, sure, Coach.
You mentioned the dehydrator, and often in different social media groups, people will ask when I'm talking about dehydration, and a lot of people aren't aware that if you have an air fryer, that the air fryer has a dehydration option. At least most of them do. I assume all of them do. And so there were people who, I've been in dialogue with who were really surprised when I told them to check the air fryer. And I remember a couple people saying, wow, I never ever noticed it, because they were, asking about going out and purchasing a dehydrator. It was like, no, if you got an air fryer, you probably have a dehydration. And if you don't, you can always use your oven.
Absolutely. I was about to let them know that.
So again, if you have an air fryer, there's already a setting there. You can adjust it. And if not, if you have to use your oven, you can, set it. Usually, I think, was it 170?
Well, I know electric ovens, they usually, the minimum setting you can actually go to is 170.
Okay.
But the preferred temperature for dehydrating is less than 180. And usually like 135. So, so gas ranges, you could probably get your gas range to set at like a lower temperature than an electric one. But nevertheless, you can dehydrate. You can do it in the oven, whether it's gas or electric, whatever the lowest temperature setting is. For my oven, it's electric. So I use a 170 degree Fahrenheit, and then I put a wooden spoon in between the door so that it can aerate, so that the moisture actually is released and not really going back into the herb.
Got it.
Okay. All right. So, Coach, what I have here now, I'm going to show what we harvested today. Just a little couple of bunches of herb. I have ginger mint that we harvested today, lime mint that we harvested today, and a beautiful, beautiful bunch of basil. And I mean, if you can see these beautiful wide basil leaves, and they get actually wider than this. We just picked these today because they were a nice size, and we will be dehydrating some of this basil to jar, and we will be using some for some of our recipes. We really love fresh ginger, fresh basil chiffonaded into a homemade pasta sauce. Oh my God, it tastes absolutely amazing, garden fresh. For the ginger mint and the lime mint, what you want to do, you want to dehydrate this. You can make tea.
Mm-hmm.
But what I usually do with my flavored mints, like my orange mint, my ginger mint, my pineapple mint, and my apple mint, I make a simple syrup. Simple syrup. Mm-hmm. And what I did before relocating, I used to make orange mint drizzle that I used to sell at farmers markets. And when I tell you, it really enhances your teas, your desserts. You drizzle it over your desserts, or you add it to your different flavored teas, and it really optimizes the flavor. So many different things that you can do. Don't be intimidated when you see the different mint types at the farmer's market or at your local nursery. Go ahead and buy some, because there are so many options as far as recipes are concerned that you can use those flavored mints for.
I'm assuming that lime probably also is good for a mojito.
Good for mojito, but what they use spearmint or peppermint normally for mojitos, but orange mint and lime mint make the perfect mint varieties for mojitos.
Okay.
Better, more so than, and it enhances the flavor of the mojito more so than the spearmint or the peppermint.
Now, one of the things that I, as a somewhat newbie gardener, I've only done it a couple of years, that I find really amazing is that the more you use, the more the plant grows. Every time you prune it, it actually triggers the plant to start growing more. So it's almost like, you've heard me say this before, it is a true blueprint for abundance.
Absolutely. It's like trimming the edges of your hair.
Yes.
So once you trim it, it begins to grow.
So literally, I've been guilty of at times where I have not pruned or harvested, some of the herbs, and the growth just kind of it stops, it stunts. And we saw that with the oregano plants.
Oh yeah.
But then you cut it, you take some more, and there are techniques to doing it to really maximize it.
Right, and there's also signs of when you should do it.
Yes.
For example, on this ginger mint, if you can see the little flower, Coach, can you point to the little flower? My arm's not long enough over here. So that little flower there is an indication that this is about to go into seed. If you leave this for another week or two, it's going to seed or bolt, and it's going to stop growing nice big leaves. And the flower is telling the plant it's time to die back and produce more seed for the next season. So all you want to do is either take a little snipper and snip that little piece out, or just pinch it out with your thumb and your forefinger, and that will cause the plant to continue to grow and the leaves to continue to get a little bit more mature. And as you can see with the basil, that's what we've been doing is pinching it out, which we call, like pruning, pinching those flower heads out, and the leaves just continue to grow bigger and bigger.
And again, it's really a beautiful thing when you think about it. The plant is letting you know, hey, come get me, pay me some attention, and it's also preparing you for the next season by providing seeds. And if I guess with some plants and herbs included, the seeds will fall into the pot or into the ground, and it will start growing right then, depending on the length of your season. So.
Yeah, and that's another thing, excuse me for interrupting, Coach, but that's another thing about mint. If you don't have a lot of space, hi auntie. If you don't have a lot of space or you don't want mint all over the place, it's a very aggressive herb. Potted. You want to plant your mint in a pot because otherwise it will take over your garden. It's like a vine, it's like ivy. It will go all over the place, and you don't want that. So, to contain it specifically and isolate each mint variety, plant it in a pot or planter bed all by itself, that it's, so that it's confined.
Yes. Now, with that, something else you got to factor in, which I again learned, even though they're in a pot, you need to put a tray underneath your pot if you have drainage holes, which you should. All right. Some pots will have the bottom connected, but if your pot basically is flat with the drain holes in the bottom and you plant mint, those roots will find their way through the holes into the soil. I made that mistake earlier this season when I went to move a pot, and you know what? The mint was like, "No, I'm not going anywhere." So I literally had to pull the pot to break it from the roots, and then put a tray underneath. Then the other thing which occurred to
very metaphorical.
Yes,
very metaphorical, Coach. The roots will take hold.
Yes, the roots will take hold.
The roots will take hold.
And then the other thing, when you put it in the pot, you also have to be mindful of how the plant grows, because with the ginger mint, it didn't grow straight up. The stems bent over, and again, it went looking for the soil, the ground.
Yes.
I had two stems that actually started to root in the soil, which again I had to pull. So as Coach Mitchell said, it is an aggressive plant. If you plant it directly in your garden, it will take over. If you put it in pots, you also need to be kind of mindful of how you position it in your pot, and you want to use a tray underneath.
Yep. But if you're planting them indoors, then that's not an issue, because you have that in a planter or in a pot on the windowsill. It's not going to run anywhere because there's no additional soil for it to gravitate towards. Yes. So, Coach, that's all I have for mint. So,
well, I have a couple other things that came out of our garden. I want to start with something that's somewhat common, and that's what you see here. Well, this is lemongrass, which is, again, has quite a few health benefits. You normally might see it in, people use it for making tea. But I want to just kind of show, I don't know if you can really tell how much is here and how long these are, but this is like the third or fourth harvest this season. And this was from a plant that we purchased from a farmer's market. And then I just basically, planted it, in a container, and it just keeps growing. Now for, your lemongrass, here this will relieve anxiety. It also lowers your cholesterol. It helps relieve pain. It is a pain reliever because it's it's also antibacterial, antifungal, and again, it's anti-pain. And it also, when it's made into tea, you can consume it to relieve bloating. So it has some digestive properties. So again, you might, if you're ever thinking about it, you may want to plant this yourself and then look into the benefits of, consuming lemongrass. Here, this we also harvested today. This is, which I'm sure most of you are probably familiar with, maybe not in the plant form, but you've probably purchased it in your cough drops. It's eucalyptus, which again has very well-known, medicinal benefits. It relieves, symptoms of a common cold. You can, use the fresh leaves to then gargle, with it. So like in a tea form, it relieves a sore throat, bronchitis. Again, all the things that we're normally used to because we normally get the cough drops with eucalyptus.
Right.
Well, you know what? Bypass the manufactured form. If you're growing it yourself, you can just go harvest your leaves and then find ways to, usually just, put it in some boiling water, but basically just consuming it as a tea, or you could do, where, I'm trying to think.
Tinctures.
Yeah, but it's also
A
just
salve, a balm.
well, it's just put it in water. What we used to do years ago is you put your head over the pot, throw a towel over your head, and just
Let that steam
yes,
help clear your congestion and your nasal passages.
yes, But I just recommend again growing it and then just learning how to utilize it. So again, homegrown eucalyptus, and this one, which I'm somewhat new to, but it's basically called the common name. It goes by many names, but the common one is called miracle leaf. Mhm. So, if you can see that.
Yep.
All right, so your miracle leaf, it actually is used to treat asthma, bronchitis, even kidney stones, right? Uh, People again make a salve, and for insect bites, bruises, skin ulcers, and even as a blood purifier. So you see, all of these have potential or actually have medicinal properties to them, and you just got to learn how to utilize them. Now, again, we're not trying to give you any medical advice, so just want to make that clear. But nature provides us with pretty much everything we need. We just have to know how to utilize.
Absolutely, Coach. And a lot of people ask me, you work in the healthcare field, why don't you do video sessions on industry topics? Well, I think this is the entry point, or the point where it's the prevention point.
Yes.
So if we take care of ourselves, we don't really have to enter into that healthcare, space, and we minimize the impact that our bodies go through when we have to rely on medication, right? So I think that, doing our service to others is bringing you informative sessions like this to help you eliminate or minimize some of the health issues and concerns that you may have.
Yes, and the key word there is, we're promoting health so that you won't need the healthcare system, or you won't need it as much. Because I'm of the mindset that the body will heal itself if it's given the right environment and the right nutrition. And you again learn how to do certain things such as fasting. Like the body will begin to heal itself. It's when you look at nature and you look at the human body, they're beautiful creations, which we tend to take for granted.
Absolutely. Yeah. Good evening, Auntie, and good evening, Deborah. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. And yes, the miracle leaf, it was new to me as well. Mm-hmm. We stumbled upon it at the farmer's market. One Saturday we were at the farmer's market, so we decided to buy it. And in researching it, it offers a lot of medicinal benefits. So we are always willing to share. We're willing to help you grow. So if you are interested, please tag us, like us, share, send us a message, and we will definitely get back in touch with you on how we can help you to grow your own medicinal plants.
Yes. And one of the things I just want to follow up, we saw it, we were like, what is that? Let's grab it. So it is a part of experimenting. Mm-hmm. It wasn't like, oh no, don't get that. It's like, buy it. We're in this space where it's like, let's just try to grow it. Let's see what happens. So even before we knew what it could do, mm-hmm. It was just something that was different, and we just decided, let's give it a try. Absolutely. And the plant has been growing really, really well. Yep. So again, we're really trying to encourage everyone to, just try it. Just start. I posted the other day. I asked the question, why aren't you doing it? Seriously, like why? What's holding you back from taking better care of yourself, and what's holding you back from trying to grow your own, herbs, plants, vegetables, fruits, whatever it might be.
Right, exactly, and just to feel better.
Yes.
When you eat healthier, when you put healthier things in your body, you feel better, you interact better, you think with clarity. So it's worth it. It
Yes.
is worth it. I'd rather be walking around, bouncing around with a lot of energy than complaining about how tired and sluggish I feel. And trust me, I've been on a journey since April with intermittent fasting, which that'll be another topic we'll cover during another session. But I'm down 15 pounds. I'm down 15 pounds and I feel amazing. I feel amazing.
Without any dieting.
Without dieting, but just ingesting 80% of things that are good for me.
Yes.
And eliminating the 20% that is not. Like a glass of wine when I'm trying to wind down. Instead, now I'll drink juice. I'll drink a homemade juice. So I think, again, what we've been covering over the last couple of months, we are living it. We're walking it out. We're not bringing you anything that we're not doing for ourselves.
Absolutely.
And we feel amazing.
Yes.
And as you can see, Coach Darren is slimming. He's Slim Jim. He's Slim Jim. So yeah. I don't know if you want to share how much weight you've lost just by changing your diet and incorporating some of the, techniques and tips that we've been sharing with our viewers.
As I share with some of my male friends, I said, at one point, I'm proud to have lost the weight. And then I have this feeling like I can't believe I had allowed myself to put on that much weight, because I was very much into fitness before I stepped away, and to have put on that much weight and now looking back and saying, yeah, I'm almost at that 50-pound weight loss.
Give yourself some grace.
Yeah.
Give yourself some grace. We all sometimes fall short, but give yourself some grace. You're back now.
Yes.
You're back.
And now I'm moving in. And let me just say this: if you're trying to lose weight, this is one of my tips. Everybody has different ways of on their journey, so I won't necessarily say you got to do it this way.
Right.
But I've always been, when you're trying to either start or you've been away and you're going back to the journey, always start with your diet before you start focusing on exercise.
Not a diet.
Yes.
But focus on what you're taking in.
Yes. And the origin, I probably shared this before, the origin, all right, the etymology of the word diet actually means way of life. So we tend to think of it as a strong, structured eating, but it really means way of life. So, when I use the word diet, it's really just the foods that you're consuming. You want to consume, if you're starting or restarting, you always want to begin with your diet and start giving your body nutritious foods so that it can prepare itself for the exercise. Because most people will go to exercise and lose weight. Exercise will not, lead you to weight loss. It just won't. You have to focus with your diet. And basically that's what I did. Made some changes to my diet, cut out the junk food, and when I then added the intermittent fasting, the weight really just started to come off. It really was not difficult. I probably would have lost it faster if I had been more committed, but I kept going in and out, and then finally I was like, you know what, let me go ahead and do this. So it's doable.
But it was the byproduct of you just changing your eating habits.
Yes.
I know with me it was the same.
Yep.
My intention was not to lose weight, but I'm really glad that I did. I lost some assets along the way. However, I feel amazing. I feel amazing. So it was a positive component of changing the way and being intentional about the way I eat and what I put into my body.
Yeah. The one thing that I do stress as a coach, when someone says, well, I want to lose weight, I always tell them, you really want to change that. You want to focus on, I want to become healthier. Because if you focus on becoming healthier, the weight loss will happen. If you focus on weight loss, it doesn't mean you're going to become healthier. All right, you got that? Weight loss, focusing on becoming healthier will lead to weight loss. but
Yeah.
it doesn't work the other way around.
Yep. Thank you, Deborah. We feel awesome. We do. We feel light in our step. We got a little pep in our step. Okay. And junk food, I'm telling you, if you just commit to 3 days without it, I guarantee you days 4 and beyond will be a cakewalk. Pun intended.
Yes.
You don't want the cake, but it will be easier. If you could commit to 3 days without it, replace it with water or nuts. You know what? I won't even say think of it in terms of replacing it with something, because when you do that, you set your mind to thinking you got to have something in your mouth, and you don't. You don't. I am good with water from the time I wake up until 7, 8 o'clock at night. I don't have to have anything else but water. But that's me. I tend to be one that really I like water. So it's good to me with nothing in it. It's just good. But that's me. But I think that what happens is we have a tendency when we start on our journey, we think we're losing something. So we try to fill that loss.
Yes.
So I think if, you just eliminate it, jumpstart with water, eliminate the junk food, day 4 and beyond will be a lot more attainable.
Yeah, because that's one of the things, when people just, they go back and forth with, I know I need to eat healthy. I know I need to do this. And they may start and then they stop, and there's a lot of science behind what is happening to you, both in your brain and in your body, that will cause you to always go back to the junk food. So one of the things that I do get people to focus on is one of the first things you want to begin eliminating is 2 things. You can go with the subtraction approach or the addition. But the subtraction, or you can do both. The subtraction is you want to eliminate, again, the ultra processed foods. That's most of the packaged foods. The ultra processed meats. That's that. I won't mention the corporate names like that.
The deli meats.
The deli meats, especially the ones that are already packaged. And the ones you buy from the deli, they tend to be high in sodium, so you need to be mindful of that. But the other ones that come in, like the packaged cheese, the bologna, all that stuff, it's ultra processed. So you really want to stay away from that. And all of the cookies, the potato chips, all that. And you don't have to go cold turkey, all right? If you're that addicted, you can wean yourself off. And while you're doing that, you can add in more nutritious foods. And after a while, your body will start craving the nutrients, and you won't have a taste for the junk food.
Yep.
Your body has a memory, so it knows what it needs and what it wants.
Absolutely.
All right. Do you have any questions before we close out?
I think that was it, Coach.
Okay. All right. So again, lemongrass, eucalyptus, and miracle leaf. And here's the thing: when you're at the farmer's market, if you buy, any of these plants, think about what we call propagating. So you take that plant, you bring it home, and you replant it. And there's a technique to it, but right now it's just, also people just start.
Exactly. So we have ginger mint, lime mint, and basil from the Mint to Be garden, and such a myriad of things, a lot of things that you can do to incorporate these fresh herbs into your diet.
Yes. Yep. And like I said, all homegrown. You don't need a lot of space.
Not at all.
So again, if you're interested, some of you say I am, but you never follow through when we extend the invitation to you, but you don't need a lot of space. You can do a lot of this indoors. You do it on a back porch, a balcony. Nature will help you out.
That's right. And, we're doing our part in transforming healthcare, because this is your way to a healthier way of life that will keep you out of the system or codependent on the system. So I'm Coach Mitchell.
Yep, and I'm Coach Darren.
And remember, as we always say, if you do not start now, there can be no next. We hope that you join us for our next session as we hopefully bring you techniques and tips to help you along your health and wellness journey. It's been a pleasure to be before you tonight.
Yes.
Catch us the next time on Inside Outside on Wellness Wednesday.
Good night.